In the early hours of May 6, 2025, the skies over Sanaa lit up with fire and fury. Israeli warplanes unleashed a barrage of airstrikes on Yemen's capital, targeting the Houthi-controlled international airport and surrounding infrastructure. This dramatic escalation came in direct response to a Houthi missile attack near Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport, marking a new and dangerous chapter in the Middle East's ongoing turmoil. Welcome to Timeless America, where we delve deep into the stories shaping our world. If you're passionate about understanding the forces behind today's headlines, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Red sky over Sanaa, Israel's retaliation and the expanding Middle East conflict. The spark ignites on May 5, 2025, a ballistic missile launched by Yemen's Houthi rebels struck near Israel's Ben Gurion airport, injuring 4 civilians and causing temporary flight disruptions. This brazen attack was the latest in a series of provocations by the Iran-backed Houthis, who have increasingly aligned themselves with Palestinian factions amid the ongoing Gaza conflict. Israel, viewing the missile strike as a significant escalation, vowed a swift and decisive response. The following day, Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, carried out extensive airstrikes on key Houthi targets in Yemen, including the Sanaa International Airport, effectively disabling the facility and destroying several aircraft on the ground. The targets and tactics, the Israeli airstrikes were meticulously planned, focusing on infrastructure believed to be used by the Houthis for military operations. In addition to the airport, the IDF targeted power plants and a cement factory in the Bani al-Harith area, which were allegedly utilized for weapons manufacturing and storage. The IDF issued evacuation warnings prior to the strikes, aiming to minimize civilian casualties. Despite these measures, Houthi-affiliated media reported at least 3 deaths and 38 injuries resulting from the attacks. The Houthi response: in the aftermath of the Israeli strikes, Houthi leaders condemned the attacks and vowed retaliation. They reaffirmed their support for Palestinians in Gaza and declared that their operations against Israeli interests would continue unabated. This stance underscores the Houthis' role as a significant player in the so-called Axis of Resistance, a coalition of Iran-backed groups opposing Israeli and Western influence in the region. Regional and global repercussions. The Israeli strikes on Yemen have further complicated the already volatile Middle East landscape. Iran condemned the attacks, accusing Israel of using the conflict to undermine ongoing nuclear negotiations with the United States. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a halt to American airstrikes on Houthi targets, citing a ceasefire agreement brokered by Oman. However, this ceasefire does not extend to Israeli-Houthi hostilities, leaving the door open for further escalation. The humanitarian impact. The renewed violence has exacerbated Yemen's already dire humanitarian crisis. The destruction of critical infrastructure, including the main airport and power facilities, has disrupted aid deliveries and essential services. The United Nations and various humanitarian organizations have expressed deep concern over the situation, calling for immediate measures to protect civilians and ensure the flow of humanitarian assistance. The broader conflict, the Israeli-Houthi confrontation, is a microcosm of the larger geopolitical struggle unfolding in the Middle East. The Houthis' attacks on Israeli targets and shipping routes in the Red Sea are part of a broader strategy to challenge Israeli and Western interests, often in coordination with other Iran-aligned groups like Hezbollah and various militias in Iraq and Syria. Israel's military actions in Yemen represent an extension of its efforts to counter these threats beyond its immediate borders, signaling a willingness to engage adversaries wherever they may be operating. The path forward, as tensions continue to rise, the prospects for de-escalation remain uncertain. Diplomatic efforts are underway, but the entrenched positions of the involved parties make a swift resolution unlikely. the international community faces the challenge of addressing the immediate humanitarian needs while also working towards a sustainable political solution to the multifaceted conflicts in the region. The recent Israeli airstrikes on Yemen's Sanaa International Airport mark a significant escalation in the Middle East's complex web of conflicts. As regional powers assert their interests and alliances shift, the potential for broader confrontation looms large. The coming weeks and months will be critical in determining whether diplomacy can prevail over warfare. If you found this analysis insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed on developments in this and other global issues. Your engagement helps us continue to provide in-depth coverage of the stories that matter.